Hey, struggle streamers, Heather here, diving into the free streaming universe to bring you the gems, the flops, and the what the heck did I just watch from this free streaming universe. So today I am going to another international selection. It is out of Denmark and it's called Another Round. The story follows four high school teachers who feel their lives have become predictable and boring, and who can't relate to that? So they are out to dinner one night and they start talking about this Swiss psychiatrist and his theory that the human body is deficient in natural blood alcohol content. So they decide to embark on this experiment whereby they drink a lot to try and improve their life situation. And it goes just about as well as you might expect. But this film does not portray it in kind of a judgmental, puritanical way you might think it would. So, this film, Another Round, is streaming for free on Fawesome. It is directed by Thomas Vinterberg and it was released in 2020. It runs just short of 2 hours and it won all sorts of awards. And here in the US, it won the Academy Award for Best International Feature Film in 2021. In that introductory scene where they start their where they're discussing this theory about being alcohol deficient, um, it was kind of stressful for me because I really thought they were gonna like keel over and get sick and have a very negative experience because they were drinking heavily. They were drinking alcohol, they were drinking beer and wine, and they were mixing it all up and they were drinking large quantities of it. But they survived. So clearly they are of a stronger constitution than I. The main character of this group is Martin. He's played by Mads Mikkelsen. As we go through his midlife crisis with him and his friends, we experience their alcohol journey in a very mindful way. It's not portrayed as good or evil, it's just something that they're experiencing, and it makes note of all of the highs and lows that they go through on this journey. It also kind of touches on the drinking culture in Denmark, as the graduating students do take their drinking too far in a couple of scenes. But the alcohol really kind of is used as a catalyst to expose their insecurities, their struggles, their regrets, what their purpose is in life. And throughout the journey, Martin does find his passion for life again. He transforms from a person he didn't recognize into a person who finds joy. And along the way, he loses a lot of things that he loves. But it all culminates in this really epic dance scene at the end, which sounds bizarre. I know. I realize a dance scene in a serious movie is kind of a strange concept, but it works really well. And Mikkelsen can dance. I guess he had some dance training in his youth, and you can see it. He's really good. You just gotta see it. It's not like John Travolta. It's totally different, and it's really, really good. Personally, I relate to these characters because I am kind of in that middle place too. I'm not young anymore, but I'm certainly not old, and I hope that I'm not washed up. But I really struggle sometimes wondering, like, what is the purpose of all this? Why? Like, what's the meaning of life? And these guys are kind of going through that too, and they hopefully find their peace in the end. This is an intimate film that explores family dynamics and professional boundaries and self-destruction with humor and pathos. And Vinterberg does an outstanding job of maintaining the intimacy of these four friends. And we live in a time, I feel like, where like people don't have adult friends anymore. And the bond between these four is something. Ooh, and the bond between these four is something to envy. I remember when I was a kid, my mom's friends would just show up at the house for a cup of tea if they were passing by, and we would go over to friends' houses on a weeknight for dinner, and we keep getting knocked over here. Those connections seem to have gone by the wayside in our modern culture. I feel like our our kids' sports take up so much time and commitment, and our jobs are absolutely exhausting. I don't remember my parents working to exhaustion the way my husband and I do. And I don't love our culture right now of work, work, work until you die. So I definitely relate to the characters in that sense. The pacing of this film allowed joy and despair to coexist. Very yin and yang. I liked that because it felt very real. It had a very human feeling to it. And even though I personally would never assume that my body is alcohol deficient, it was sort of inspiring to see how these guys think outside the box and in terms of how to get out of a personal rut. Like, what weird experience could I do to reinvent myself? I don't think I'd want to drink, but like something extreme like that is kind of inspirational. So some of the main themes here that I think the film addressed really well was mainly midlife crisis and existential emptiness. Our four main characters are stuck in their routines, they're disconnected from their families, they're uninspired in their work, and their students definitely let them know that. The experiment with drinking becomes, I don't want to say desperate. I feel like desperate is a strong word, but it is an extreme attempt to recapture their youth. Maybe not their youth, but their meaning, their passion, their goals. They just want to not feel dull and predictable anymore. There is the theme of the duality of alcohol. It can release your inhibitions, it can spark creativity, it can rekindle joy, but it also blurs that judgment line and it can lead to literal self destruction. Winterberg treats alcohol as a symbol of both freedom and danger, showing how it can temporarily fill the emotional voids while really deepening them at the same time. I don't know how to rephrase that, but it does fill those emotional voids and it also makes them worse. So, third theme I really picked up on in this was masculinity versus vulnerability. The story portrays modern masculinity through men who are emotionally restrained and socially pressured to appear competent and in control. Their drinking experiment allows them to express vulnerability and reconnect with one another, but it also exposes how they cope or how they fail to cope with personal disappointment and fear of irrelevance. I guess to sum it up, the experiment seems successful. Their teaching improves, their relationships improve, well, mostly, and they regain kind of that youthfulness that they lost. But as they increase their alcohol intake, the situation does grow out of control. Each man faces consequences for their actions, and it exposes the fragility. And the film culminates in a bittersweet and emotionally charged finale that captures both the joy and the tragedy of living. So, if you enjoyed this review, please leave a like and subscribe. I will make more of these in the future as I watch more movies. And let me know in the comment section, did you think Another Round was brilliant or busted? I thought it was pretty brilliant. I loved it, and it makes me want to move to Denmark. So here we are out in the snow shooting our movie review, and I encourage you to get outside. It doesn't matter what the weather is. There's no bad weather, there's only bad clothing. So get bundled up, go outside after you watch this movie, get some fresh air, touch some snow in this case, and I'll see you in the next video.